Hello and God bless you, my wonderful friends. Welcome to my channel. If you are here for the first time, I am so glad that you found me. My name is Marlene. I'm here to share love, wisdom, and inspiration from God's words. On this channel, I dive into scriptures, discuss life biggest questions, and explore how we can live our faith in our everyday lives. I'm trying to create a community here that encourage each other, pray for each other, and grow together in understanding and love. Today we are going to delve into the topic of the God of the impossible. I believe that this message can bring hope and joy into our lives as we navigate through our faith journey. But before we dive in, if you haven't done so already, please do click on the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on my weekly contents. Let's get started and allow the peace of God fill our heart, our mind, our soul, and our spirit. In another word, God is saying it doesn't matter what your situation look like or how long it's been that way. I am God and I can do the impossible in your life. I need to be, even if I cause a river to flow in the desert. In Matthew 19:26, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Whatever we think is impossible, God says He has no limit or boundaries. His power makes all things possible. We have His promises to cling to when life seems impossible. He will show you the way to go. The Lord will guide you always. Sometimes we question that why does God put us in the impossible situation? Instead, we should recognize that God has intentionally ordered this impossible state of affair in order to bring glory to His name in our own heart and mind. Sometimes it seems that God asks us to do the impossible. Like Jesus commanded His disciples to feed a multitude of hungry people even though they were in the middle of the bunnies, seemingly far from any source of food. God's fingerprints are all over the book of Esther, but His name is not mentioned even once. Through the courage of one woman, God supernaturally protected His people from annihilation and extinction. Esther reminds us that God constantly is at work behind the scene to deliver His own people. The story began when Esther, a beautiful young Jewish immigrant, is chosen by the Persian king Xerxes as his new queen. Xerxes is unaware at this point of her Jewish heritage. The wicked Haman Tashin, second in command of the Persian Empire, plot to have all the Jews killed as revenge for the refusal of Mordecai, Esther's cousin and former guardian, as well as a high-ranking government official to bow down to him. Haman convinces Xerxes that his mass extermination will be in the empire's best interests, and the execution is scheduled for a particular day according to a decree from the king himself. The date is chosen by casting lot or Purim. Even today, the Jewish people celebrate the Feast of Purim to commemorate God's deliverance from Haman. Mordecai asked Queen Esther to become involved, and she courageously revealed her heritage and exposed the plot to the king. Because of her love for her people, Esther risked her life by going against the king's law, saying, "If I perish, I perish." Esther chapter 4 verse 19. The king has mercy on her and grant her request, and eventually Haman is hanged on the very gallows he has erected for Mordecai. Esther's decision is similar to the one Jesus would make years later. Motivated by his love for us, our Savior became our representative in the courtroom of a holy God. It cost his life to save us from perishing. It seemed impossible for fallen humanity to gain a pardon from an offended God, but Jesus accomplished just that and then rose from the dead to prove it. Just as Haman was publicly humiliated and destroyed, so Jesus disarmed the power and authority of his enemy, Satan. He made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. That wish appeared to be a fertile cause for human being is never untenable for God. In fact, God specializes in the impossible as a means for demonstrating who he is. Many people throughout history have scoffed at God's seemingly improbable plan and methods. When we had informed one elderly couple that they were going to have a son, they laughed until the miracle birth took place. Genesis chapter 18 verse 13 and 14. And when Mary learned that she had been chosen to give birth to God's son, she was very logically inquired, "How will this be? I'm a virgin." Luke chapter 1 verse 34. God's angel messenger reminded her that nothing is impossible with God. And even in Persia, God was watching for his people, for their deliverance. Government edict and all the empathy Haman could muster could not foil God's plan. Another reason we can struggle to trust God is that we have limited understanding. We see so little when it's come to human history. It is hard for us to know how suffering fits in with God's good plan. We are taught to believe that God's plan is good and right, but it's difficult to see that when things are difficult. Allow God to remind you who He is and what His promises, and then be honest with Him. You can tell God how you feel, in what area of your life you are struggling to trust Him. First, it is good to acknowledge that His character is good and trustworthy. You can agree with Him that all He said is true. Can you identify a time in which God put all of the pieces in place for an impossible dream to come true? What did it teach you about His sovereignty over all things? We are serving a God of the impossible. He could make anything possible in your life when you trust Him. Believe Him. Spend time with Him. Have a relationship with Him. He can make anything, everything that is impossible, possible for you and for me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this message of the God of impossible. He said in His word, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you can tell to this mountain, move and cast into the sea. He will be done for you because of your faith. Thank you for allowing me to share this message today. And please, again, do not forget to subscribe, comment, and share this message to those who might need to hear that God is a God of the impossible.